Well, welcome. My name's Campbell Brown. I'm the president of Old Forester. We are delighted today to be able to host the announcement that the mayor and Danny Wimmer and Danny Hayes and Fred Minnick are going to make in a moment. And I just want to say, as a person that loves the bourbon industry, to be able to host something like this and what Danny and his team have brought to our city to, again, put a wonderful, bright, loud spotlight on our industry. We're very, very fortunate and greatly appreciative of all of your efforts and your investment in our city and in this industry. So I'll now turn it over to the greatest ambassador of bourbon in Kentucky, our mayor, Greg Fisher.
Thank you, Campbell. Thanks for hosting us here. Brown-Forman, of course, was the very first bourbon company, so they have a special place in our heart in the history of bourbon. And if you look across the street, you'll see George Garvin Brown, who was the founder of the company, and his innovation was taking bourbon from barrels and putting it into bottles. And thus, this industry was born. So we're very thankful for your great-great-great-great-grandfather. All right. So welcome, everybody. It's a great, any day's a great day in Louisville, but this weekend is a really great weekend as we look forward to hosting Bourbon and Beyond and all the wonderful people that they bring to town and all the great people and the great music and the great food and the great bourbon. You're going to be able to find it all here. So I'm a business guy that just happens to be mayor, and I can tell you that I spent 30 years in business before I was mayor. And one of the things I learned in business is that success begets more success, and it just kind of keeps the momentum going in city. People want to be around things that are winning and where you have opportunities to grow. And we're seeing a lot of really great things happening in our city. Danny Wimmer, Danny Hayes, and the team, you know, we really partnered at the right time. They've been knocking around Louisville now for about 5 or 6 years, so they've seen the renaissance of our company take place. And you know, if I wasn't the mayor, you would be disappointed if I didn't brag on our city a little bit. But Muhammad Ali is from Louisville, and he said, if it's true, it ain't bragging. All right, so when I tell you that our city's on the move, it's on the move. So no, we've had 80,000 new businesses, 80,000 new jobs in the last 4 to 5 years, 2,600 new businesses, $13 billion in capital investment in the last 4 years. I mean, this is what you see happening, going on all around our city. And Bourbon and Beyond is a really important part of the strategy of growth that we have for our city. It's not just, you know, when you put bourbon and food together, that's what we call bourbonism. But Danny, I think we need to add, you know, bourbon, food, and music, because that's really kind of what you guys have helped us with. And it's a big part of the growth strategy of our city. CNBC last month named the top 15 millennial growth cities in the country. We were fortunate to be on that list. And I really believe one of the reasons we're on that list is bourbonism. Bourbon, local food, great music, great art scene that people want to be around. So for Danny Wimmer Presents, the entire team, we really want to say thank you to you guys for the tremendous partnership that you have with our city. And so I've done a lot of deals over the years, and sometimes you do deals with people. Tony, thank you as well. They're just hard. You know, they're hard deals. They're not win-win kind of people. Danny Wimmer and his team are win-win folks, period. If it doesn't work for the city, if it doesn't work for our citizens, if it doesn't work for our tourists, if it doesn't work for them, we're not going to do it. It's as simple as that. And it is so refreshing to have business partners like you guys that when we go into this knowing we're going to share the same goals to have, you know, offer delight and joy for everybody we touch with whatever we do. So I really want to say great job with you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, one may say, is there any future in bourbonism? I think we're just getting started. You know, we're in baseball season right now, so I think we're in the second inning right now. And just since Danny Wimmer and his team have been in our city, by the end of this year, when you guys started, we had 0 bourbon experiences in our city that the public could go to. By the end of this year, we'll have 9 significant bourbon experiences. Old Forester obviously is one right here. These are 5-star type of experiences that people brag about all over the city. So 9 bourbon experiences. The Kentucky Bourbon Welcome Center is now open at the Fraser right down on West Main Street. So I would encourage you to see that as well. And then Bourbon and Beyond started last year and was a huge hit for us here in our city. And seeing the evolution of Bourbonism has been really gratifying, because in 2013, Karen Williams right here, who ran the then named Louisville Convention and Visitors Bureau, now Louisville Tourism, we sat down with our leading voices in tourism, bourbon, food, and the arts, and said, we think we might have something here with this Bourbonism concept. So let's create a vision for the next 5 years of where our city could go. And it's just been really something to see those goals we set for 5 years basically happen in 3 years. And one of the goals we set was we need a great bourbon and food concept coming to us. And little did we know that Dan and his team were concocting, let's blow their mind with what we do. And that's what Bourbon and Beyond is, obviously. It's an incredible world-class music festival, food festival, and bourbon festival all into one, and the only one like it anywhere in the world. So we build off Bourbon and Beyond, we build off Louder Than Life, and back in January we announced a 10-year agreement with Danny Wimmer Productions to keep hosting and growing bourbon in all of their festivals. We've got another incredible lineup this year. These guys came out of the box with a strong lineup last year, and it's just going to grow every year. So this year, Robert Plant, Sting, Sheryl Crow, Lenny Kravitz, along with food from the best chefs in the country, including our legendary locals, some of our legendary local chefs like Ed Lee and Damaris Phillips. And then, of course, if you want to have one of the world's most foremost authorities on bourbon, what you do is you visit Fred Minnick's Mini Bar over here. So, Fred, we can always count on you as well. Let's hear it for Fred Minnick. The publication that you all have on your seats is one of Fred's products, and it's just another example of how the bourbon industry is gaining so much popularity. So, as I said, what we've learned is when you work with Danny and his team, you know it's going to be a world-class event. So, big announcement number one. We're really excited to announce what's happening next year. In 2019, Bourbon and Beyond will expand to 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So people last year, the reaction to year one with 2 days was, I'd say the biggest disappointment, the biggest critique we had was, why can't this be 3 days? Okay, so we're going to give them what they want. Big announcement number two. We're going to add a new addition to the city's festival lineup, courtesy of our partnership with Danny Wimmer Productions. Next September, we're going to host a major country music festival right here in Champions Park, right down the road, and it's going to be called Hometown Rising. We're really excited about this. It will be held September 14th and 15th. And we'll be announcing the lineup of artists later, but you can see what the team has done with both Louder and Bourbon and Beyond. So the artists coming to Hometown Rising will be of equivalent caliber. They will be the best in the world at their particular craft. So that's an amazing thing, because when Hometown Rising opens next year, that means that here in our great city of Louisville, we will have 3 top-tier music festivals happening 3 weekends in a row. So we'll start with Hometown Rising, and then we'll go to Bourbon and Beyond, and then we'll finish up with Louder Than Life. So if you're interested in music, and if you're interested in good times and good foods and good bourbon, the universe will be descending on Louisville, Kentucky in September of 2019. So this is really great news for what we're doing with the city. And as I said, these guys are really partners with us with our whole economic development strategy. We'll be the only city in America with 3 major music festivals happening on 3 successive weekends. And this is just more great news for our economy and the wonderful tourism scene that we have here in our city. So, as I said, success inspires success. You can see it in the new hotels, the other buildings, great places like Old Forester here, and then you can hear it next year on 3 weekends in September. So I really, again, want to thank Danny and the entire team. Danny, Tony. Danny's dad, David's in town. Is it? You know, when these guys show up, it's a family affair as well. So thank you guys so much for everything. And we could not do this without an incredible convention and visitor team. Louisville Tourism is headed by the best in the business. You know, our mantra here in the city is when we're challenged or we have an opportunity, we say yes. And then we're going to figure out how to deliver. And it's that type of spirit that Karen leads the Louisville tourism with, and we're just so thankful to have her as a partner. So please welcome to the podium, Ms. Karen Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. What a great day for tourism. I think I pretty much have, maybe right after the mayor, the best job in Louisville. Music festivals like Bourbon and Beyond, Louder Than Life, and now adding the new country music festival, Hometown Rising, which I love, Danny, put Louisville, as the mayor said, on a national stage. They're unique events, unique that any other city would love to have. They help position Louisville, as we already think and feel, as a hip and progressive city. The city's reputation is because the reason these festivals and Danny and Tony and team looked at us. We know with the amount of tickets that are sold this weekend and next weekend, the hotels are full. I see some of the hoteliers in the back of the room. They draw a large amount of out-of-state visitors to our city for this festival and next week, enjoyed by the top national performers, and also they can experience Louisville's culinary and all of our many attractions. And now, as the mayor said, with the addition of the Hometown Rising Festival, we'll be able to attract visitors to our city for 3 consecutive weekends. This is like Christmas to me today. So, I also, as the mayor said, I want to thank DWP for choosing Louisville. But I really want to thank Danny, Tony, and team for being our partner and our friend, and we look forward to many, many years ahead. Thank you. And it is now my pleasure to introduce Danny Hayes.
I always hate following the mayor. You're so thorough. You don't really leave me anything to cover. I am going to tell you quickly that there is a secret backstory to the name. There was a secret dinner that I was not invited to for some strange reason that I believe. Oh, I was there? I was at the other end of the table then. See, they keep me away no matter what to the creativity. Keep me away. Where the name was concocted between a brain trust, I think was the two of you and Mary Ellen. So the Hometown Rising name came from the hometown, and I love that. I was asked today a lot on the news this morning why we chose Louisville to do all this. And, in that 1-minute soundbite on TV, you can't really answer that question. So I'm going to ask you to indulge me for a minute, and I'm going to give the longer version of why we chose Louisville. And the truth is, we didn't. We didn't choose Louisville. Louisville chose us. We didn't come here with this idea of this massive 3-festival production. It's the culture, the spirit of this city that sucked us in and brought us here. And, I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. It all starts, with Mayor Fisher. Where else in the world does a mayor proclaim a movement, call it Bourbonism, and then get everybody to buy into it? It's incredible. But then what he does is he empowers his team, and he says, make this a reality. And no one in Louisville exemplifies that more than our dear friend Marty Storch. Marty, where are you? Marty Storch said to me and Danny one day, and I quote, "I will not be the reason this festival does not happen here," end quote. And that's the spirit of everybody in this town. And that's true of the mayor's entire team. Jeff Mosley, Ellen Hessen, Mary Ellen, Mike Maloney, Janice Cates, every single person in that office. And it's broader than just the office. There's the unsung heroes that every day go to work and embrace the mayor's vision. The facilities, codes and regulations, the water company, the parks department, public works, the Metro Police. We couldn't do this without every one of their partnership. Every single department in this city takes the attitude, just like Marty Storch, and says, I'm not going to be the reason this thing doesn't happen. And I'm telling you, we're in We do 12 festivals in 10 different cities around the country. I can't say that about 9 other cities. I mean, this is an incredible place, and you should all be very proud. And then, of course, our dear, dear friend Karen Williams and the tourism department, what she's done and her ability to convince us to do just about anything that Louisville seems to want is incredible. But the city council is the same. Councilman Yates, who's been a supporter from day one, and probably no one more than Councilman Hollander, who has the difficult job of looking out for the interests and concerns of his constituents, which happen to be the people most affected by the festivals. They're inconvenienced in the Clifton Heights neighborhoods and surrounding areas. But even Bill Hollander, when he comes to the table to discuss those concerns, still makes us feel welcome. And that's just incredible to me. And the neighborhood is the same. We have these neighborhood meetings, we discuss their concerns, but they want to be crystal clear, too, that they don't want to stand in the way of the city's progress. They want to be heard, and we want to hear them, but they're not going to stop this from happening either. The River Road Business Association, similarly disadvantaged by us for a few days, but not going to stand in the way. There's 2 other people that I really want to call out that really embody the spirit of why we've fallen in love with Louisville. The first is a gentleman you probably all know, is named Kenny Karam. Kenny comes to all the meetings, and his role here is to look out for the environment. He does it vigorously and passionately, as he should. If there's anybody in town that I would have thought would want to see us go away, it would be Kenny Karam. But during the break in our last meeting, Kenny found Danny and I a tutor for our kids, so we could bring our kids with us. Only in Louisville. Right? I mean, only in Louisville. And the other person who I don't think I see here today is the Aldi Center's Donald Lesueur. You guys are so lucky to have him. As you all probably know, we've opened an office here in July. We've had long discussions about potentially moving our headquarters here. And during one of those meetings, we were discussing it, and I just briefly mentioned that I was a little concerned about what Jewish life might be here in Louisville compared to Los Angeles. The next thing I know, I'm in a car, and Donald's taking me to meet the president of the JCC and Rabbi Joe at the temple, because he is not going to let that be an issue for me. And again, that's the city. We were at the Ali Awards last night, the Humanitarian Awards, just an incredibly special event and something that Danny and I have really pledged to get behind and help grow. We think that, too, deserves a world spotlight. We got the unique pleasure of hearing Carly Johnson do Dream On, and that was just extraordinary. And we learned about the Liverpool-Louisville Cultural Exchange, which makes a lot of sense to me, Beatles and Muhammad Ali. So we would like to donate $5,000 to help the city offset the expenses of that program. We think that's a very worthy cause. So thank you, everybody. We couldn't do it without all of you. We appreciate it. And I get to introduce the one and only Fred Minnick.
It's such a pleasure to, I guess, in a sense, be the voice for Bourbon in the home of George Garvin Brown, whom I think would really appreciate this. And I think he would also like you, Mayor Fisher. Mayor Fisher has actually been an incredible advocate for Bourbon. In 2013, I said he was the Bourbon mayor, and I meant that then, but that was before he did all he's done. And there's not been a mayor who's taken such an interest in Bourbon as you, Mayor Fisher. And we've had bourbon distillers as mayors in Louisville. So that's actually saying something, to say that you've probably been the best bourbon mayor in history. With that said, George Garvin Brown died in 1917, and he was one of the really powerful voices against Prohibition. And one of the things that he talked about was the distillers working together to thwart the enemies of the bourbon community and all distilling. And he passed away, and I really do believe that if his voice would have been present, I think he would have been somebody very powerful who could have blocked Prohibition. But after his passing, you know, Bourbon started kind of breaking up a little bit and kind of working more into factions. There was still unity, but it operated very much in factions and everyone trying to kind of get their own piece of the pie. They would eventually start working for the same pie. But this is what the bourbon industry has looked like since Prohibition. It goes up, it comes down. It goes up, it comes down. It goes up, it comes down. It's a never-ending cycle. And what has not happened to break that trend is every time that it goes up, the bourbon distillers have struggled to reinvent themselves, to capture new audiences and to find new consumers out there. In the 1960s, you saw the bourbon when in 1964, when bourbon became a unique product of the United States, Congress declared that. The young consumers of that generation were actually starting to drink vodka. And so just at the moment, it has its greatest moment in history, arguably. It starts taking a nosedive because James Bond said he wanted a martini shaken but not stirred. And what these festivals are doing, what Hometown Rising, what Bourbon and Beyond, what Louder Than Life are doing, is they are bringing boatloads of fringe consumers to Louisville, Kentucky. And a lot of these people are getting a taste for bourbon for the very first time. A lot of these people may just be a little bit of a bourbon drinker, and these kinds of festivals are what make sure that bourbon stays at the top. And if we do not do that, I mean, I've invested my entire livelihood in it. I mean, you've got it sitting right on your chair, Bourbon Plus. I've written 7 books, the majority of which are on bourbon. This is my life. This is my livelihood. It's Campbell Brown's livelihood. It's every distiller around here. There's billions of dollars of investments in this state. 60% of every bottle of bourbon that you buy goes to taxes. So when you buy bourbon in the state of Kentucky, you're actually spending money that will go to the roads and schools of the distilling communities. So something like $20 million last year went to the educational fund. As we struggle in this state to find money for teachers and so forth, bourbon is actually a very powerful solution, but people don't necessarily always want to talk about it because it's a spirit. But the fact is, bourbon is an ally for Kentucky. And without Bourbon and Beyond, Hometown Rising, Louder Than Life, 3 very different demographics, without an effort to bring in new consumers, we will lose the new consumers to Canadian whiskey, to Scotch, and dare I say vodka. So with that said, I have been honored to be the bourbon curator for Bourbon and Beyond, and soon to be Hometown Rising. We're going to have a really cool bourbon educational component to that as well. Excited to talk about that. But I think everyone has gotten a glass in the audience except me. So I'd love, no, I can't take Campbell's. No. So what I want to do now is I want to propose a toast to my dear friend, Danny Wimmer, the mayor, Danny Hayes, Karen. Danny Wimmer presents the entire team and what you all have done for Louisville and, in my heart, bourbon. Because without you all pushing the envelope, bourbon would go away just like it did in the 1960s. So, to Danny Wimmer Presents and to Hometown Rising. Cheers. And this is Old Forester Statesman, by the way, if you want to know what that is. Mark Gillespie with Whiskey Cast.
Give us a sense of what the city's involvement in this and what the city gets from it, if you can, Mayor, in terms of the amount of money that gets spent by the city in terms of police protection and other facilities, and what the rest of this, what the city invests in this 3 weekends of music festivals, and what you get out of it for the public.
I'll tell you what, our Deputy Mayor Ellen Hessen is here, and she's the one that really runs the city and deserves great accolades. It looks like they're figuring it out right now. Come on up, Ellen. The way we look at it is we're trying to evolve the brand of our city as well. And so certain opportunities come along where we can do things that are very unique to who we are. Some of it's homegrown, bourbon, food, et cetera, but we needed a music partner. And that's where Danny Wimmer and his team really came into play. So it was really that strategy that we were pursuing. From a city standpoint, Ellen Hessen is the deputy mayor of the city and does more of the coordination of that type of activity. And I just say, Ellen, let's make this happen. The benefit's going to be beyond the cost, and if it's not, she'll let me know.
Well, the benefits are well beyond the costs that the city incurs. We absorb through our Public Works Department, facilities, parks, and police some of the costs, but then the promoters also help us pay for some of it to defer it, and the convention business. We have basically worked that into our annual schedule, so we're not really incurring any extra overtime. And the partnership at the park, we are getting tremendous improvements at the park, the paths, the water fountains, I'm getting cued back here, $500,000 worth of improvements over the course of the next 2 years. This year and next year, they'll be. So. Yeah. Danny, get up here. You gotta get the mic. Help me out here. You threw me.
Power out, power out.
You didn't get an introduction. Danny Wimmer, everybody.
So, in Jacksonville, Florida, we had troubles with our sound, and there was a company came. It was the largest employer in Jacksonville, and the city council was trying to ban outdoor music. And Fidelity is one of the largest employers in Jacksonville. And he sat with the mayor and he said, "Mayor, my number one recruiting tool is arts. And what the city's doing right now to try to get tech jobs here, the alignment and the partnership, the arts program is one of the number one ways to recruit people here. I mean, it's a very competitive world, competing with the Nashvilles, competing with San Francisco. As you try to get tech jobs here, a lot of the millennials want to know what the arts program is. And this is what we do. We talk about this. You know, I'm going to have a home here. We're opening an office here, and we're supporting any of the arts here. We're doing an event tonight with the Speed Museum. And I think that's the number one tool as the mayor's initiative to bring the tech community in here. I think it's, you know, I think what Fort Castle's doing is a great compliment to the city. What we're doing, we're going to take every genre we're going to take care of, from Fort Castle to Bourbon and Beyond to the New Country Festival to Louder Than Life. We're going to take care of the whole community. And there's probably a couple more genres that we'll get into. But the conversations that we have with the mayor's office, this is about growing the city. And arts is one of the number one way to recruit. That's why San Francisco constantly keeps the tech, or that's why Nashville is getting the tech. But everything's changing here. And those are the conversations that I have with the mayor's office. So I'm very proud. You know, that's why it was so important that you and I talked about, well, not everybody likes Louder Than Life, and we understand that, but there's a big part of this community that loves rock music. And then we talked about how important it was for me, when you say Napa Valley and you think of wine, we sat there, me and the mayor, when I said to the mayor, when you say Louisville, I want you thinking bourbon. It's the heartbeat of the city. It's something to really grow from. So I couldn't be more proud to sit with this mayor's office and constantly be thinking about ways to recruit. If I move here, you know, it's going to be very important that other jobs are coming in here, and we want to be a big part of this community. We spend a lot of time with the businesses around here, and the mayor has just done an incredible job hooking us up with the Yamanas. You know, I call this mayor's office they're connectors, and they're really trying to build the community. So I'm very proud of what we've been able to do to complement his bourbonism, and music means a lot. I mean, I think it's one of the most powerful tools, and I couldn't be more proud than what we've accomplished with you, and Alan and Karen and Mary Ellen. We did come up with the name together at a dinner that Hayes was at. But everybody, I know everybody's very busy, I hope everybody gets to come to Bourbon and Beyond. I'm very proud